Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Amateur Hour Sports for today's Raptors Happy Hour live stream in our revised Thursday slot for this week. I'm very busy with work this week and very busy with a move. I'm moving out of this apartment. Get this box for the shot. Moving out of this apartment at the end of the week. So it's been a bit of a crazy week for myself, which has made it difficult to stream on my normal Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 p.m. schedule. So instead, what we've done two happy hour streams this week. Tuesday, Thursday, today being the Thursday stream at 7 p.m. Eastern time on top of the watch longs we've done. So if you enjoy the content you see today, hey, you can get subscribed for all this great Raptors content that is coming your way. And you can smash that like button if you do find yourself enjoying. We have a really good show planned for you guys today. What we have on the menu, we're going to go over the Raptors' now 9-game win streak. We're going to talk about that incredible Brandon Ingram buzzer beater, pretty much buzzer beater, to win the game against the Pacers. We're going to talk a little bit more about that game in general. Then we're going to discuss this winning run for the Raptors. A lot of the wins in this winning run have felt like the Raptors haven't really played well, but they've managed to scrape over the line and just get it done. So, there's two ways to look at it. Is it, okay, good teams find a way to win when they're not playing well? Or is it the Raptors have a bit of fortune on their side and are getting a bit lucky with the results? We'll talk about that. Then we'll discuss the Barrett injury. Obviously, it's been a few days since we heard about the injury. We heard about the extent of the injury at this point, but I want to go over what things we can learn about the team in this process or in this time frame that he's injured, if it could give us some insight into what a future without Barrett could look like. Not like, I'm not trying to frame it like, it's good. I think it'd be much better if he was healthy and he was playing. I'm just saying it gives us a chance to see what it does look like when he's not playing. Overall, we'd be better off having him playing right now. Just make that abundantly clear. And then we're going to go into a redraft of the 2021 NBA draft class, which was, of course, the year Scottie Barnes was selected 4th overall and then went on to win the Rookie of the Year award. No, Barrett shouldn't be out for that long. Should be about a week when he is back at this point, a little bit less than a week at this point. But we'll have a few games without him in this stretch. I just want to go over some things to look at for the player. So that's what's on the menu for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Remember to hit the like button, the early goings, if you do find yourself enjoying along the way. We have in the chat, which is not currently up on the stream screen. We've got Winner One joining us once again, Q-Man joining us once again, and MSJ joining us once again as well. Winner One saying, this Raptors team is scary. It's tough to stop when there's so many weapons there, and now you have that real half-court threat in Brandon Ingram. Man, I know we all saw the buzzer beater, but just to revisit it, oh my God, to finally have a player who can just get buckets. Oh my God, I keep saying it, but it's so fun to watch this guy play. It's so fun to have this guy on the team. It's a travesty that the stream, I couldn't stream yesterday because of the Wi-Fi issues. I looked in after the Raptors game, which was, amazing finish there. I looked in after the stream. So if you don't know, the Raptors stream got cut short after. I really only streamed for a quarter. I tried to get it to work for the second quarter and didn't. So at halftime, I just gave up. I think I've identified the problem here. The main problem being I'm streaming on Ethernet connected into a Bell Wi-Fi pod, which is not really wired in. I'm wired into the pod. And as much as the Wi-Fi that I have is fantastic, the stream requires a lot of bandwidth, and the bandwidth is putting too much stress on the Wi-Fi pod. So the Wi-Fi pod at times can't handle the stream that I'm outputting. So I've reduced some of the settings for the stream today to hopefully ensure we have a clean stream today. But essentially, the router's way too far to plug in directly. So for the next few days, we're stuck on this setup here because my Wi-Fi is pristine, at all times of the day, other than sometimes when I'm streaming. And my download upload speeds are great. So it's just all very confusing to me. But consulting ChatGPT has alerted me that the Bell Wi-Fi pods maybe just don't have enough bandwidth support for the streams, which is why we've had some issues over the past couple of weeks. I'm moving on Sunday. The goal is to get the router in the office I'm going to be streaming from. So I'll be wired in directly to that. And on top of that, me and my fiance are upgrading our Wi-Fi plan. So there should be no more issues after this week. Maybe will be tonight. Maybe will be tomorrow. We'll see. Or Saturday when the Raptors play. We'll see. But anyways, I apologize for the issues on yesterday's stream. It robbed us of a truly sensational stream moment in the history of the channel. We didn't get to see the Brandon Ingram buzzer beater, and let's not forget the Jakob block in order to allow that buzzer beater to happen. Siakam, man, when Pascal Siakam made that move, I forget who was defending him. It might have been Barnes, but when Siakam made that move to get to the rim, I was like edge of my seat watching, and then as soon as Siakam made that move, I went, fuck. I mean, I know Spicy P. I know he's finishing that. I just went, fuck. And then Pirtle kind of like came out of nowhere, made the block. Raptors go the other way. The Jack Armstrong, Raptors commentator, was calling for a timeout. I was also, once Brandon Ingram took like a few steps back and there was like 8 seconds on the game clock, I went, call a fucking timeout. Ingram just hit the gas, hit the brakes. And when he hit the brakes and I saw an open look, I'm like, oh my God, that's gotta be in. And indeed it was. What a play by Brandon Ingram, of course, to make that one happen. Wow. Oh, I was so fired up. I so wish we were able to get that on stream, but sometimes things are out of your control, and that's just the way it goes. It is what it is. But on the game, so nice to have a player like Ingram who can get buckets in cold stretches of the game and in the clutch, just give him the ball, get out of the way. That guy's going to score. Not to be too disrespectful to RJ Barrett, but I'm really happy we can stick the ball in Ingram's hands and say, go score instead of Barrett. Because, man, to get a good shot up like that in that moment, that was truly sensational. Barnes was also fantastic in this game, 24 points, 10 rebounds. Pirtle played good minutes. He was plus 12. Really, the bench kind of struggled in this one, other than Walter. The Pacers bench dominated. Ben Shepherd was plus 25. TJ McConnell was plus 19. Like, it was really difficult to manage the Pacers bench in this one. Walter had really high plus minus, but particularly when he was playing with the starters. I haven't fact checked that, but like that was the perception I got from the game. I really am not understanding the decision to start Colin Murray-Boyles in this Raptors starting five. I said it pregame. I don't really get it. I said I like that Darko feels the need to change the starting five based on the opponent, and I like that he's willing to make the change there. What I don't understand is why he chose to go with Colin Murray-Boyles in this one. I didn't really see any sort of advantage that playing a little bit bigger would have provided us against this Pacers team, which is not a very big team. I don't know what he saw. To me, it made so much more sense to go with Jacoby Walter for the floor spacing aspect. And when Jacoby Walter played, the starters were much better, and there was more space for them to operate. So another really good Jacoby Walter game, plus 21. He got the win the day chain, 13 points from him as well. Right in line with the video I put out today as well, which is a clip from the previous stream where I was bigging up Jacoby Walter for the way he played. Bit of another tough night for Emmanuel Quickly. He's really been hills and valleys, I guess you could say, so far this season. But hey, the Raptors got over the line again. What did you guys make of it? Winner one says, we clearly need RJ Special's final minutes when Ingram's on the floor, off the floor. Yeah, his rim pressure is big. Absolutely. I do, again, we're going to kind of discuss what the different lineups can entail. But RJ Barrett, particularly in that game, we were struggling to kind of get pressure on the rim. RJ would have been a definite benefit there. Would be great to have one more center, but the small ball off the bench is nothing to complain about. Yeah, still need that backup rim protector for certain matchups. It's just hard to get that. I'm okay with where it's at now, but I would be interested in seeing that addressed if possible. MJ says, do you think Ingram is better than Siakam? I don't think I can say that just yet. But the way Ingram has played this season, he might be doing a good job of outperforming him this season. I think Siakam is the more complete player. But man, I mean, Brandon Ingram's damn good, and he's making a claim for that title. Absolutely. I mean, last few games, Brandon Ingram has been just absolutely sensational. I mean, here he was in the Pacers game, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 11 of 23, game winner to go with it. Glorilla went crazy. That's just funny. And then his last 6 games, he's averaging 25 points per game. He's got his 3-point shooting up to 41.9 in that stretch. It was a good amount under 30 to start the season, but starting to find his rhythm from deep, and the points are there. The isolation scoring is there. Brandon Ingram has been a revelation for this team, and we got him for relatively little in a trade. Feels really good for that to be the case. Dak Canadian says, also, what I like about Darko a lot, he holds himself just as accountable as his players, I find, which is huge for team chemistry. Yeah, and one thing I always, and you know I'm not a big Darko fan here. I am this season, but as a whole from the past years, I'm not a fan of Darko Rajakovic, really. But one thing I always gave him credit for was team morale, team spirits were always extremely high, even when the Raptors were losing tons of games. And that's something that Jamal Shed said after, I think he said it after the Cavaliers game. He might have said, I don't think it was after the Pacers game. He said it after one of the recent games. Jamal Shed said the exact same thing, like, everyone was still happy. Locker room vibes were great. I'm paraphrasing, but something along those lines. The vibe around the team was still great, even amongst those losing seasons, which, I guess if you want to be picky, you can take it as, you're losing a ton of games. You shouldn't be happy, but it felt like morale was always high, and it felt like the players were still always locked in on the task at hand, trying to win games, even when they were losing. So I give Darko Rajakovic, and I always have given Darko Rajakovic a lot of credit for that. MSJ says IQ is a better game closer than PS. What's PS? Not sure. That's kind of what's needed in basketball. Yeah, even in these rougher games he's had lately, after a good run of games, he had a couple of rougher ones. He's been good in the bigger moments, which is still a positive sign. I don't know if that's the point you're trying to make, but it's not like all bad out of quickly. There is good to his game. And I have enjoyed some minutes when he's getting to play next to Jamal Shed. I think those 2 point guard lineups work pretty well. We've closed a couple games lately with that lineup as well. I actually kind of want to see, now that we have a bigger sample size, I want to see how the lineups are looking when we have those two on the floor together. Let me pull it up. Jamal Shed, Emmanuel quickly. Let me see. Plus 38 in the 52 minutes they've played together. Like, it's pretty good. Overall, their minutes individually have been great, but when they played together, they're plus 39.6 in 52 minutes. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. I like what I see there. I know it's like a relatively small sample size, but in the short minutes they've been on the floor together, good things have been happening for the Raptors. Oh, I see. IQ's a better game close than Pascal Siakam. That's kind of what's needed in basketball. Oh, I vehemently disagree with that. I would much rather have Pascal Siakam in the final stages of a game than Emmanuel Quickly. I mean, I like Quickly, but Pascal Siakam is in another tier of players there. I would absolutely go for Pascal Siakam. Siakam's game closing is he's good at it. It's underrated. He's a good player who knows how to score and can do it in big moments. Yeah, I'm definitely going with Pascal Siakam over Quickly there. Unfortunately, I gotta. Shed's probably one of the best second rounders we've had. Yeah, 45th overall. We're getting a lot out of him. It's been a lot better than I thought it'd be this season. He is having a significant impact on a game-to-game basis, which is great. Does this team need RJ, or do you think we should trade him? If there's an upgrade available, yeah, if there's an upgrade available, that's something that I would do. And we'll talk about it a bit later, but like, you wonder if there's I think there's absolutely a better fit for the starting five. I prefer to have RJ right now rather than him being injured. That's for sure. If that's what anybody's kind of thinking, but if you could have more of a floor spacer, like same style of player as Jacoby Walter, but just like a lot better. If you could replace RJ with that, I think the Raptors improve. But it's hard to get a really good 3-and-D player. RJ Barrett's a good player as well. It's just interesting to explore what the different lineups kind of look like in his absence. But we'll go on that a little bit later. MSJ correcting themselves. BI is better than Pascal closing the game. Okay, that I can agree with. If I need a tough shot to go up and I need someone to create their own shot, I am going to Brandon Ingram before I am going to Pascal Siakam. And there is a lot to that in the NBA as well as you said. I'm not trading away RJ Barrett for filler. I'm not going to go that far at that Canadian. RJ Barrett's a good player at the end of the day, and he's helping this team win. I don't think going for filler and Day'Ron Sharpe is helping the team win nearly as much as Day'Ron Sharpe would be. But again, we'll touch on RJ Barrett a little bit later. So let's just dial back into the game that we had. It was. Sorry, I'm watching football here. Big plays coming up in this football game here as a dig. But let's dig into kind of the main theme I wanted to go for the stream today, and we'll dial back into the game here because it was another Raptors win, 97-95 against the Indiana Pacers. And look, I am not going to try and find things to be upset about. When the Raptors won 9 games in a row, and they win another one here. They go 4-0 in the NBA Cup group stage. They secure home court advantage for the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup. Listen, I'm a happy man here. The Raptors are winning games. It's been great. But amidst this winning run, I think it's fair to say, and it includes this game against the Pacers, I think it's fair to say the Raptors have had a lot of games where they have not really played to their best and have had some pretty sloppy games. Now, they've won in spite of that, but does it pose a potential worrying trend to this team going forward, especially once the schedule starts to get a bit harder? And again, I'm not like fishing for things to be upset about, but like if you were to have watched the Raptors all 9 times in this 9-game win streak, and maybe you had the scoreboard turned off and you didn't watch like the last 10 seconds of the game to know who won, you might think that this was probably a winning run. But maybe not 9-0, maybe more like 5-4, or probably more likely 6-3. I don't think the Raptors have played maybe well enough all 9 times to have won all 9 games, but they have done it anyway. And there's a couple of ways that you can look at this. And the first way you can look at this is the Raptors haven't played particularly well in some of these games. They played great in some of them. There's been a few of them where they maybe haven't played so well, and you wonder, okay, is there a little bit of luck involved with this 9-game win streak? I think for any 9-game win streak, there has to be a bit of luck. But is there like a little bit too much luck involved in this to be sustainable for the rest of the season? That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is, oh my God, the Raptors are so good right now that even when they don't play well, they're still finding ways to win, and they are winning ugly. So there's 2 ways to frame it, and we're going to talk about the recent run of games, and we're going to talk about whether or not it's the first one for us or the second one for us, the former or the latter. So amidst this 9-game win streak, the Raptors have got themselves up to the 2nd seed and have maintained it, even through a 6-game win streak for the Miami Heat, who are nipping on our heels, 1 game back of us. We have stayed ahead of them, 14-5 in the season. And now we're only 1.5 games back of the Detroit Pistons after the Pistons had a recent loss to the Boston Celtics, ending their incredible winning run. Pistons have, well, actually, the Pistons, they lost 2 recently. No, they had the big winning run, and they lost again to the Boston Celtics there. Anyways, moving forward here. Listen, it's been extraordinarily impressive. Please, I'm not trying to diminish the accomplishment here for this Raptors team winning 9 games in a row. However, if you look into like the win streak here, let's say, for example, this one against the Brooklyn Nets. And this was the start of the win streak. This was a really nervy game. The Raptors did not start well and did not play particularly well overall, but kind of were able to do enough against a very bad Brooklyn team to get over the line. You know, they were able to dominate the possession battle. They were able to score enough on the inside, but it wasn't a pretty game. And it was one they really needed because they were back at 5-5. And it was against a 1-10 Brooklyn Nets team, a 1-9 Brooklyn Nets team at the time. And it kind of felt like that one had to go. And it ended up going, and, you know, it kind of sparked this win streak. But again, throughout the rest of this, there was a quite poor performance against the Charlotte Hornets, which they eked out in the end. It took a really big play from Brandon Ingram to pass to RJ Barrett and a good finish to take the lead in the end. And it took a comeback to even get to that position. And then it took 2 blocks in the final possession for the Hornets for the Raptors to get over this and avoid overtime. It wasn't fantastic there. It was another kind of slog of a game against the Brooklyn Nets as well to win the game. And then it was a rough start against the Cavs, which turned into a fantastic second half, but a rough start. And then just a pretty rough game apart from a 22-0 run, I think it was, for the Raptors. So again, we're kind of seeing these pockets of the game, of game stretch, or maybe even full game scenarios where maybe they're struggling to get stops. Maybe they're struggling to put pressure on the rim. And if they're struggling to do that and teams are kind of packing the paint, the Raptors aren't hitting threes, which was a bit of a theme against the Pacers. The Pacers were able to pack the paint. We weren't knocking down enough shots to make them pay for it and expose them and stretch out the floor enough. But amidst these games, we've seen some fragilities within this Raptors team. And there are some elements of luck, which I've spoken about a lot in this channel. There are some elements of luck to some of the Raptors' defense in this stretch. I felt like the offense has been very sustainable, but there are some elements to the defense that have been a bit luck-driven, such as when you look at the placement of shots, of expected effective field goal percentage against, where getting fancy here, but the Raptors have been relatively lucky in that category. They have one of the best three-point defense in the league, which part of that is their good defense. Part of that does seem to me to be a little bit luck-driven, but most of what the Raptors have done here is sustainable this season, and they're still finding ways to win games. So for me, going back to something I covered in the previous stream is the sustainability of what the Raptors are doing. I feel like a lot of it is very sustainable. And just from watching the Raptors team of previous years fumble so many of these late game situations, we are definitely going to go with the latter and say that, I think what's more impressive about this win streak, it would have been more impressive if they were just dominant in all 9 games. But I think what is impressive about this win streak is the fact that the Raptors don't have to play well, and they're still finding ways to win games. Even in games they are not playing well, they are staying within touching distance, and they're able to find ways to play well in the clutch scenarios to get over the line. Because that has been a bit of a theme for a lot of these games. It's been not necessarily a great game or performance, but they locked in and played really well in the clutch. They did it in this game against the Charlotte Hornets, which needed a bit of a fight back. They did it in this game against the Pacers, which, the Pacers are making a comeback and the Raptors found something in the clutch. This game, they only won by 11 against the Cavaliers here. Raptors, it was a 4-point game in the clutch and the Raptors came through. Even this Philly game, the Raptors, it was a really tight game in the clutch and they ended up winning by 9. I think it's very impressive that when the going gets tough and it comes to the biggest moments of the games, the Raptors are able to push through and find some really good performances. And I think it's a testament to the way the roster is built right now with so much talent amassed into the starting 5, so many talented players amassed into the starting 5, that it's kind of a pick your poison scenario where, the go-to guy is obviously Brandon Ingram, and he's got us over the line in a few of these games. But if you want to double Brandon Ingram, that's going to leave another player who's maybe in some all-star caliber conversations this season, like Scotty Barnes, open, or a player like RJ Barrett is a 20-point-per-game player, or Emmanuel Quickley, who even when he's not playing well, feels like he's hitting big shots in the clutch, and he's a talented player, $32.5 million point guard. It is what it is there, but there's so much talent amassed in this team that the Raptors have been able to find ways to win in clutch scenarios, even with a starting 5 that as a whole has gotten better as the season has gone on, but tend to start games poorly. They get it done in the big moments. So in the toughest moments of the games, the Raptors are thriving. And that is definitely why, for me, it is a testament to being a good team that the Raptors can play poorly and still find ways to win. I always consider that to be, I'm not going to know, this is... We're going to use a very big word here, but that to me is like the mark of a champion. You have to be able to win games when you're not playing well. I'm not saying the Raptors are necessarily championship contenders. I know they're second in the East. I'm not saying the Raptors are necessarily championship contenders, but oftentimes teams that do go on to win championships, and there's teams better than us who are doing it too this season, but those are the teams that find ways to win in those tough situations where things aren't going well, things aren't going your way. they find a way to get over the line. The Raptors have done that so much this season, which is why I find it truly impressive that they're able to win in spite of that. As for like the upcoming schedule, it's starting to get a bit harder. Maybe not with the Charlotte Hornets game on Saturday. And if you may be watching this after that game, and who knows what the Raptors did in that game. They almost lost to them at home, so they could easily lose them away as well. And there's some tough games against the Knicks, the Blazers, the Lakers, Celtics twice, Milwaukee coming up. There's some tough games on the schedule coming up. So in these games, the Raptors won't have the luxury of just keeping the pace and finding a way to figure it out later on in the game. They may have to be a bit more dialed in. So we'll have some more information on just how good this Raptors team is as we go through this stretch of games. But for now, we've won 9 in a row. That's fantastic. And even when the Raptors aren't playing at their best, they're finding ways to win. And I consider that more so the mark of a good team rather than having luck on your side. Maybe there's an element of both, but to me, more of it is indeed the fact that the Raptors might just have a really good basketball team here. I think that's what it is. I mean, if not really, it's a good team. It is a good team. My dog is down here. You want belly rub? Need a belly rub? Hey, buddy. She's been a belly rub fiend. Hi. All right, I have to work, buddy. Sorry, I have to work. All right. Before we go further, I did not, because of the connection issues on the on the stream last week. I didn't do yesterday. Sorry, my mind's frazzled. I didn't do the door shot, so I got to do the door shot today to make up for not doing it in the previous game. The door shot is how I track how many games I have streamed for this season, and I did stream for that game. I know I only did half, and I lagged out and couldn't do any more, but I did stream, and I do have to give myself credit for that. It was beyond my control in that. So I am going to do a door shot here. We're going to add it to the tracking, and it's a bit of a makeup shot here. So let's do it. And plus, there's only one more door shot after today left in this office before I move. So want to get one of the last two in. If you're here at the Happy Hour stream today, you're getting some bonus content. Hit that like button if you're enjoying, by the way. Help drive us up in the YouTube algorithm. All right. Sorry, just reading some of the comments here. I think good teams win the games they need to grind out. The nights they shot poorly and pull off a win, that's a sign of a good team. I agree. I agree there, MSJ. All right, let's do the door shot. 2 more to go in here. I want to get one more before I leave. Come on. Come on. Don't go chasing the balls, you know. Oh my God, we got it. We got it. Let's go. Let's go. That was incredible. We got another one. Woo. All right. 2 and 15. Sorry, 3 and 15 on the season. How about that? Just much less of a prep for that than normal, but we got it done. Let's fire up the instant replay of this. Oh man, fire me up. Let's get the instant replay here. So a much shorter warm up than normal. I guess I was feeling it. That was pretty clean. It caught the back rim and dropped. It wasn't a swish. Caught the back rim and dropped, but oh yeah, that feels good. How did I go like 0 of 50 on this net last season? How was I able to do that? How am I all of a sudden able to knock them down at somewhat? I guess maybe you hit one, the floodgates open because I'm no longer kind of worried about it, and I'm no longer concerned about the breaking the duck. You see one shot fall and you feel good, but man, I was focused so much on my form, like proper form last season, but it's such a short shot. Just gotta push it in. So nice and clean, 3-15, and we got plenty of witnesses. That deserves, you even liked, yeah, that absolutely, positively deserves a like. Get me out there for some floor spacing, Darko. Anyways, speaking of floor spacing, feels like the Raptors in this run of games without Barrett have been able to test out different lineups that maybe have a bit more floor spacing next to the rest of the starting five. So I wanted to talk about the impact of the RJ Barrett injury on the team and things that we can learn in this stretch, because I mean, everyone kind of knows my stance on the RJ Barrett situation. I felt like for a while the Raptors could see themselves upgrading if they were to move on from RJ Barrett in the trade market. And it's no secret the Raptors have been shopping him. They've discussed him in trades. They even offered him to the Pelicans in the deal that acquired Brandon Ingram. Obviously ended up going in a different direction. So far this season, RJ Barrett has played quite well. He's been definitely somebody that's helping the Raptors win games. To what degree of help he's providing, opinions kind of vary there, but he's definitely helped winning for the team this season. He has played well, but unfortunately, he's gone down with an injury. We're going to have a brief amount of time without him playing. And even though I absolutely would prefer to have RJ Barrett healthy, because I think he's a good player that helps this team, now that he is injured, I'm interested in seeing how different lineups can look and how successful those different lineups can look with the other four starters, not including RJ Barrett. So all this is doing is just providing us a larger sample size of what the starters look like, minus Barrett plus somebody else. And I talked about this, I think, last week on one of these shows where I said, you know, I'm not ready to make a change to the starting five. Absolutely not ready to make a change to the starting five. But we absolutely should maybe start considering what the starting five could look like if it went with a different player instead of RJ Barrett. As we got a visitor down here, my dog jumping up. Can you see my dog? There she is. Hi, buddy. Now, I'm not saying we should be making a change to the starting five. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting you maybe consider it, because there's been a lot of games this season where the Raptors have started poorly. And it kind of feels like they're starting dragging their feet through the mud. And I think part of that is down to what we had concerns about going into the season, which was, for sure, conversations about the fit of the starting five. Yes, there's talent here, but how well do they fit together? Now, they have closed games terrifically, which would maybe lead you to think the other way, where it's like, well, they have so much talent here, they're able to get through. But I feel like as the game kind of changes to a more half-court battle, ISO battle, as the game slows down, that's where maybe the Raptors can thrive in those clutch situations, because they have so many different individual weapons, such as RJ Barrett. Maybe at the start of the game, some of that spacing is a little bit more important for the Raptors to have. So again, I'm not ready to make that change, but at least in this stretch of games, we've been given the opportunity to see what those changes could look like, so we at least have some further evidence in case the Raptors think they may have to make a change to the starting five, which, again, I'm not ready to make as of yet. But RJ Barrett, thankfully, avoided structural damage to his knee. He's going to be reevaluated in a week. That was the report that we got yesterday. So midweek, next week, he'll be reevaluated. Doesn't mean that he'll be back, but just means he'll be reevaluated there. You would think if he's being reevaluated in a week, he'll be back in a week or a week to a week and a half. That would be your expectation there. But left the game on Monday against the Cleveland Cavaliers. We were able to see the Raptors close with Jamal Shed, and that looked terrific. Jamal Shed and Emmanuel Quickley minutes this season together have been terrific for this Raptors team. And then we got to see in the next game, the Raptors start Jacoby Walter alongside the rest of the usual starting five, which provided a little bit more of a floor spacer and defensive player to the starting five, a more 3-and-D type of player. Definitely the type of player I think would maximize the lineup more than what RJ Barrett is doing. I'm not saying I would do it with Jacoby Walter, because he's not the level I'd say, you know, that's the guy you like permanently replace RJ Barrett with. Maybe like just for a starter, you do. Doesn't mean RJ can't play 30 minutes. Just means that's the guy who starts the game. But like if we can get a better version of Jacoby Walter in a trade, for example, where we move RJ Barrett, that would be something I would explore. But it's just, again, just seeing what the lineups look like with that different archetype of a player rather than RJ Barrett. And then in the game against the Indiana Pacers, the Raptors went a little bit bigger. They started Colin Murray-Boyles instead of RJ Barrett. That looked ugly. That did not work. Certain lineups, certain times and certain teams that we're playing against, I think that could work, but definitely not against the Pacers. I didn't feel like that was necessary. I think it looked a little bit better. I mean, it looked a lot better. I mean, I'm sure it looked a lot better when Jacoby Walter was playing instead of Colin Murray-Boyles with the starters. Anyways, Joey Walter had a great game there. Anyways, we've gotten a little bit of a taste of the different lineups that can exist and different styles of play that can exist for the starters if there's a different style of player than RJ Barrett. So, because we have this additional sample size, I wanted to look at the 4 starters other than RJ Barrett and how they have performed with another player this season. As for the lineup with RJ Barrett, they're +5 in the season. This was a 5-man unit that was negative to start the season and has slowly gotten themselves up to +5 in the season, which is a good sign. Very, very good sign. Been much worse as a starters rather than closers, but it's a positive sign that they are now in the positive and they're starting to get better. So maybe like the problem is just gone to begin with. You don't have to worry about this anymore. But again, just because now we have the further sample size, I'm interested. We've only had 14 minutes of the starters with Jacoby Walter instead of RJ Barrett, -8.5 in those minutes. Very small sample size. Eye test wise, I feel like it's been decent, especially in that Pacers game. But -8.5, we'll go with that number there. What is very interesting is in the 12 minutes with Shed instead of Barrett, the Raptors are +47.8 as far as net rating is concerned, which is quite tremendous, to be honest. And it's kind of highlighting, like I said, we've had some good minutes with Shed and Quickly playing together. I think why that lineup kind of works is because, especially like to close games, how we close the game against the Cavaliers, you have that really good defender in Shed, and he's been an extraordinary playmaker this season. And it gets Emmanuel Quickly into his more, I'd say, more comfortable role playing off ball as a shooting guard, and you can kind of utilize his spacing a little bit more when you get him into that position there. So I'm not saying Shed should dethrone Quickly as a starter, but I really do enjoy the minutes we get when we have Jamal Shed and Emmanuel Quickly playing together, and when they're with the rest of the starting 5, based on this very, very small sample size, things are clicking there. So haven't had a ton of minutes there of these 4 players with a different starter than RJ Barrett, but maybe more information will have to follow for us to really gauge what we could actually learn from it. But I think that there are signs that show that there could be an improvement out there for the Raptors. Again, RJ Barrett drives winning, so I'm not on board with the Raptors making RJ Barrett a salary dump like they tried to do for Brandon Ingram last season. I much prefer the trade that happened, which was Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, 2026 first via the Pacers, which has now turned into a good pick, obviously. But anyways, and a second, I much prefer that over RJ Barrett and those picks. RJ Barrett is a talented player who can help the Raptors win games, and I think it's very good that he's on the team. But there is some hints that an upgrade could be out there. And I talked about it in a previous stream where maybe the Raptors look at the state of the East, look at their positioning in this current Eastern Conference, and maybe they say, well, it's pretty open. We could make a big splash and really improve our team. And I think a different archetype might help the Raptors do that. What I've seen, based on what I've seen right now from Walter, Shed with those guys, I'd probably say we're better off just keeping RJ Barrett starting for now. Keeping RJ Barrett with that unit. Let that unit click. That's the unit we want to get the most out of. So keep those guys playing together as much as possible. Continue starting together. I'll back off a little bit of the stance I was making of like maybe you think about changing the starting 5. Let's try and make this work. As for the trade season, I wouldn't mind packaging RJ with picks to upgrade there. But I don't have any real strong desire at all to just get off the RJ Barrett contract like the front office maybe would have thought, and maybe some people are thinking out there. RJ Barrett's a great player that helps this team win games. It's just interesting, and I think something you should look at in this run of games. It's interesting to see what it looks like without him. But if that Pacers game is really any indication, having RJ Barrett as a player who can put pressure on the rim in some tough situations is valuable for the team to have. There is value to his game. And while he's out, the Raptors will miss it a little bit, for sure. I think it's a guy you'd rather have than not have, right? Steve Stevens says RJ's a productive player and people are still not satisfied. He can never please everyone. He's productive as an individual. Absolutely. I won't deny that. It's just, is it maximizing the group as a whole? Still question marks there. Question marks that existed preseason and question marks that definitely still exist a little bit right now. But I don't know how many like sort of asterisks I need to like put into this and say RJ Barrett's a great player. I don't know how much I need to preface everything with that before this recognition that, yes, I do respect RJ as a player. I just question, is there more out there for this team who's now the 2 seed in the East in what is not so great of an Eastern Conference? That's all. And it's nice to have the sample size of what the 4 other starters plus somebody else looks like. A little bit more information to learn. Okay, last thing we're going to do today. And if you're enjoying, make sure you've hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel for more content like it. Typically, I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. for shows like this. And I do watch-alongs as well. Lots of great content. Clips throughout the week as well. Now what we're going to do, we are going to dive into the redraft of the... We're going to dive into the redraft of the 2021 NBA Draft, where the Raptors were able to take down... Or, sorry, what am I doing? I'm losing my head here. Let's restart here. We'll dive into it all. Done a few of these lately on the channel. We've done redrafts of different NBA draft classes, looked at where some Raptors may end up in their redrafts. We've done one with RJ Barrett. We've done one with Grady Dick. Now we're going to go into a really tough one here. We're going to be doing a redraft of the 2021 NBA draft class, which was billed as being a really talented draft class, and it has become a very talented draft class with some extraordinary players that have come out of it in a lot of different areas of the draft. So this is going to be one of the tougher redrafts we've had to do on the channel, but let's tackle it and see how high Scottie Barnes does go. And we'll once again be doing it with a trusty tier list, which I'll be pulling up for you guys here. We, as usual, have the top 5. We have the lottery, which are players who got selected outside the top 5, but inside the top 14, excuse me. We have the first-round picks, the players who are not lottery picks, but still I would select in the first round in redraft. The second-round picks, the undrafted players. We decided not to go with the Shanghai Sharks category this time. The final category is suspended by the NBA for exposing himself to women, and we'll wait and see if somebody does fit that category. But we'll jump into things here. I'm actually going to do it. Oh wow! I actually arranged it in order earlier today, where it would be going in opposite order from undrafted players down to the first overall pick. It has since jumbled up on me, so we're going to be doing it in this randomized, jumbled up order. And this time, as opposed to what I did on the previous redraft I did look into every single player who declared for this draft was undrafted to find undrafted players who would also be seated in this redraft. Other than that, if you're in the first round, you're guaranteed here. And then I handpick specific undrafted players and second-round picks to also feature. All right, let's dive into it. Sam Hauser is good. He's not playing well this season at all. But there are a lot of good players in this draft. So there's no way. I don't think there's any way he's going to end up being a lottery player. We will put him as a first-round pick. DJ Carton had a stint with the Raptors, relatively unsuccessful, injury-riddled, no longer in the league. I think that's a player that ends up probably going undrafted still, even in a redraft. I mean, I could see him maybe end of the second round, but for now, I'll put him undrafted. AJ Lawson, still in the league, 2-way contract with the Raptors, has played playoff games for the Dallas Mavericks, talented player, definitely. I'm going to put him as a second-round pick. I think we could end up moving him up, but I think for now we will keep him as a second-round pick. Jay Huff, talented player, had a good year with Memphis last year, is a decent role player for the Pacers right now. I think he'll end up being a first-round pick as well in a redraft. David Mitchell starting to shine a little bit more with the Miami Heat after getting traded there from the Raptors. I think even though he's underwhelmed as a previous 9th overall pick, that he'll end up going as a first rounder. I'll put him in the first round. Corey Kispert has hung around. He was a lottery pick in this draft. Actually, was he? I think he was just outside the lottery, actually. Anyways, as a 15th overall pick, so just outside the lottery, he has, ignore that. As someone who's gone just outside the lottery, he has definitely done enough to stay in the league and continue as a role player in this time. So I think that'll end up being a first-round pick as well. Maybe if he wasn't on the Wizards. I guess it could go both ways. If he wasn't on the Wizards, would it be better with better players around him? Or if he wasn't on the Wizards, would he not play as much because he's on a better team? I think a little bit more of the former. So I will put him still as a first-round pick. Herb Jones. This is Trey Murphy. Man, this would have to be a really good draft class for me to not take Herb Jones in the lottery. Went second round this year. Tremendous defender. Has gotten better as a three-point shooter. Great talent. Man, if he's not a lottery player, this draft is just crazy. Evan Mobley, 100% a top 5 pick, and will have a very big claim of going number 1 overall in this redraft along with others. And we will wait until we get there. Cam Johnson is just a perfect example of you can be such a talented scorer but still not be a very valuable player in the NBA. You got to have some other skills to go with it. And he's a guy that just needs a ton of the ball to score as much as he does. It's not super efficient. Doesn't really bring much else. Definitely is still a lot of talent to go first round. I don't think he'll quite crack the lottery here. We'll see. Jonathan Kuminga, I think in a redraft, I think there's still upside there. So even if we redrafted now, these guys are in their 5th season. I think if we redrafted, I think Kuminga still has a shot of going in the lottery. Maybe. We'll disperse as we get through because, there's 30 players who need to go in the first round. We'll make changes as we go. Jalen Green, I firmly believe Jalen Green is not a player that drives winning. I think that the Rockets last season were winning in spite of him a lot of the time. I would be shocked if there weren't 14 players I'd take ahead of him. Still first round pick because scoring is hard and he can score, but inefficient in doing so. I think this is good enough that we'll find 14 players that are better than him. Santi Aldama up next. Talented player, good floor spacer for a 7-footer. Can give you good backup minutes. Probably goes there. Not quite Jalen Green, but he goes there. Next is Eugene Omoruyi. There was, I think, enough to go late second round. Mac McClung, dunk contest freak. Probably gets him a second-round pick. Hasn't really made an impact in the NBA as of yet, but is I think a G League MVP. If he's not a G League MVP, he's a very good G League player. But I think he's a G League MVP. Anyways, second rounder. Jose Alvarado, good backup point guard, good defender. Grand Theft Alvarado, I think he'll end up going first round still. Trendon Watford, solid player. Found a good role with the Sixers this season. I think second round for now with a chance to move up. Justin Champagnie still in the league. Undrafted free agent out of this draft class. Hasn't impressed as much as I thought he would after leaving the Raptors, but I think he still gets drafted. Second round, we'll put him. Jordan Goodwin, I think he's a talented player that's kind of struggled to find a home. He's getting some more minutes with the Suns this season. I think that's a guy who still goes second round. He was late second round. I think he still... No, he was undrafted. I think he does go second round in a redraft. Okay. Wow. Pretty tough range here. We've got quite a crop of players to go through right now. Man. Cade Cunningham. If you offered me Cade or Evan Mobley to take right now, I mean, the way Cade Cunningham was playing, the way he's vaulted this Pistons team forward. It took him a while to really kick on the NBA, but ever since he has, wow, what an absolute talent. Might be an all-star starter this season. I think he's above Evan Mobley in my redraft. I think you gotta put him here. Just the amount he can drive winning with his scoring, I think is more valuable than even a defensive player of the year talent like Evan Mobley. There's limitations to what he can do on offense, and for me, I'm gonna go with Cade Cunningham if I'm doing a redraft, but Evan Mobley's certainly up there. Now we get to Scotty Barnes. Now I could, for the sake of content, leave him to the end. And I think I am, because I'm going to be like that, and I'm going to think it over a little bit more. Because I don't want to do it yet. I want to have a long think about it. Jalen Suggs had a rough start to his NBA career, but has really found a valuable role in the league as a really good shooter and a really good defender, which weren't two of the traits you associated much with him going into this draft. But that is just so valuable to an NBA team that he's absolutely, at the very least, a lottery player. I would have him, but just behind Trey Murphy on mine. Josh Giddey, now I'd worded the last category a little bit differently. He might have been able to go in the last category, but because I worded it the way I did, I'm actually going to grade him as a basketball player. This season has been a bit eye-opening, and the end of last season. I wonder how much of it is going to sustain for Giddey, but the fact that he's still playing really well to start this season means, for me, I am going to put him as a lottery player. Not ahead of Jalen Suggs, but in that range. Franz Wagner, terrific player. Don't think I'll take him ahead of Mobley or Cade in a redraft. Terrific player, still a top 5 player. I think all-star potential. I just don't think quite as high as Mobley or Cade for the sake of this redraft. Zaire Williams went 10th overall in this draft. Talk about a pretty rough pick considering the amount of talent in this draft. I'm not sure Zaire goes first round, but he'd be a high second-round pick, I think. James Bouknight was an 11th overall pick and just turned out to be awful. Just, like, awful. Never made any sort of impact in the NBA at all. I don't think any team would draft him based off that. And now, a bunch of these are in order now. In fact, this is all in order now. Except for Jalen Johnson, who went, I think, here. Okay, now it's in order of the way they were drafted. Okay, that's weird that it shifted like that. But anyways, Bouknight, 11th overall, undrafted. Josh Primo, 12th overall pick. I think in a redraft, I would have to say he'd get suspended by the NBA for exposing himself to women. I think it's probably just a category he has to go in. No longer playing pro basketball, from my understanding. That's the category I think fits best for him. Chris Duarte, Canadian ties, but I think hails Puerto Rico as his nationality. Playing overseas now. But there is talent there to play a role in the NBA. I'll put him second round for now. I could see him, just because he's out of the league now, and I think I'm just a little bit, haven't seen him in a while. I'll put him there. But I feel like if he had still been in the league, maybe I could have considered first round. But I'll put him there. Moses Moody in a redraft. I feel like Warriors were a bad spot for him. Maybe he could have done a bit more somewhere else. But I think there's a chance he lands still in the first round. Put him here. And Alperen Sengun for me will have to be a top 5 player. Definitely not as good as Cade. I think you could definitely make the case over Evan Mobley. This is tough. This is very tough. I'm a big Alperen Sengun believer. If you've been a follower of the channel for a while, you know that. If you are a follower of the channel when this draft happened, you know I was very big on Alperen Sengun. I was also very big on Jalen Green, so, you know, some shit you don't get right. But don't really like Evan Mobley, so I'm trying to eliminate the bias. Biased, I'm putting him here. He's definitely ahead of Wagner. I'll definitely take him ahead of Franz Wagner. I think. So I treat these drafts like I am drafting this. I have no players on my team, and I'm drafting this. I'm just trying to draft a better player. I think Evan Mobley of my team is really good. There's a fit there because of how good he is defensively. But I think if I want a guy to drive my team, be my number one player, I'd rather have Alperen Şengün over Evan Mobley. So I'm going to put him there. It's a very tough decision, but I'm going to put him number 2 for now, ahead of Mobley, behind Cade. Trey Mann up next. Solid player, solid backup. I think first-round pick. And we're only allowed to have 16 first-round picks, so we're good on that for now. Kai Jones. I mean, after he's a bit of a loose cannon as a person, so I think some teams would want to avoid that. He's now playing. I think he plays in Turkey now. Kai Jones. I'm deciding between undrafted and second round. I think there's enough talent that he gets a second round pick still. Put him second round. He went like 20th, I think. Maybe 19th in that draft. Up next is Jalen Johnson. Oh, this is a tough one. I'm deciding if he's top 5 or if he's just outside the top 5. Jalen Johnson is very, very good. Very, very good. He's like he can average 22 points, 10 rebounds, and like 7 assists. Like he can get triple-double on like almost a night-to-night basis. Good defender to go with it. So versatile. Do I want to put him ahead of Franz Wagner here? Wagner, obviously, a very talented scorer. Puts up good numbers in a lot of categories. Oh, maybe a bit better as an individual scorer. I think I'm going to... Oh, this is so tough. But I think the more complete player is actually going to be Jalen Johnson. And I hate to do it, but Franz is bumped to the lottery, which naturally does tell you that Barnes will be a top 5 player because I'm saving a spot for him up there. Just seeing how far we go there. On the next spot is Keon Johnson. And listen, I was really high on Şengün. I was really high on Keon Johnson. That did not work out. Keon Johnson recently got waived by the Nets. If you're bad enough to get waived by the Nets, that's not a really good sign in a redraft. Maybe gets drafted. Isaiah Jackson, maybe a late. He's a solid. He provides stuff. He's maybe a late first-round pick. We'll see. We'll see if he stays there. Usman Garuba, a lot of hype pre-draft. Didn't come to anything. Solid player for Real Madrid before and after his NBA career. Got drafted out of Real Madrid. Now he's back with them. Spanish player. I don't know if he gets drafted, actually. He might actually go undrafted. Josh Christopher. Don't think he gets drafted, to be honest, in a redraft. Quentin Grimes, definitely a first rounder. Wow. Dallas, by the way, of all the bad, Nico Harrison's made a lot of bad moves to the Mavericks. He basically gave away Quentin Grimes to the Sixers. And Grimes has been a great addition to the Sixers. Absolutely, I think, going to be in the first round. I would take him. Do I want to wear Dalma? I probably would. You know what? No, I'll put him here. Slightly behind. Bones Highland, geez. Bones. Inefficient, shoots a lot. Not a great player to manage, and a person to manage as a player as well. I think he goes second round still, though. I'll put him behind. Put him behind AJ Lawson. I'll put him behind Jordan Goodwin. Day'Ron Sharp, serviceable backup big. We're kind of running out of first round spots, but a serviceable big. Actually, I might prefer him over Isaiah Jackson. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 3 more spots left in the first round. Next, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, still in the league. But I don't think he'll end up going as a first rounder based on the talent we have hanging around here. I actually would have traded him off for there. Put him. No, I'm not a Zaire Williams fan. I'm gonna move him down there. Herb Jones. Oh, I treated Trey Murphy like Herb Jones earlier. Oopsie. So Herb Jones is no. That's where I mistook them earlier. I swear I mistook them earlier. Herb Jones is a lottery pick still. Trey Murphy is the correct spot for me, but I described him as Herb Jones earlier. Trey Murphy is a terrific 3-and-D player, has emerged as a much more talented scorer, has emerged as a fantastic defender. Wow, would I love to have him on the Raptors. Trey Murphy goes just behind Franz. Herb Jones is a lottery pick for me because of how good he is defensively and the shooting he can bring. Okay, cleared that up. I'm sorry for I mixed them up, then corrected myself, and then still mixed them up earlier. Oh my god! All right, Miles McBride, Deuce McBride. Great shooter. There's value to that. And kind of looking at the lottery as it stands, he might be a lottery pick. He might be the end of the lottery. Somebody who can knock down shots at a really good clip for you, even on a playoff team. I like that. I might have to keep him in the lottery here. And there are 2 more spots left in the lottery. Ayo Dosunmu, solid. Not spectacular, but solid. I'll take him. Maybe gets in the first round still. Keita, I'm not a big fan of Keita. Sorry, you're a little cut off. We're a little cut off down here. So next up is Keita. We'll zoom out. I'm not a big fan of Keita, but he's played actually pretty well for the Celtics this year, which probably raises his stock. I'll take him over Dosunmu, which gives us 5. 1 more player can go in the first round here, and 2 more can go in the lottery. Isaiah Livers, I think that's how you say it. Could be Livers. Sorry if I said it wrong. Canadian player. He's got talent. He'll definitely get drafted. Missed last year to injury. He'll get drafted. He's a second rounder. Kessler Edwards probably also gets drafted. There's enough talent there. Delano Banton, I think a team would take a stab there. Second rounder. Probably higher up second round. Yeah. I mean, former Raptor, we know, but had some good stints in Portland, but really hasn't kicked on from there. The reality is for Delano Banton, just take a bit more time. The reality is for Delano Banton. Talented, but not enough shooting. Really just, like, I've seen this guy play in the G League where he is just, like, so much better than other people in the G League, but it's just, like, he picks up his dribble early and is talented enough to kind of find his way to the rim and get something up and score. That doesn't cut it in the NBA when there's better players around, which is why it didn't really work out from kicking on. But I think a team would still take him second round. David Johnson with the Raptors' 46th pick in this draft, and I must say, I don't think any team has drafted him. Just didn't work out. I watched this guy a lot in G League as well, like at Raptors 905 games, and if you're a draft pick, you should probably look good, maybe even too good in the G League. He didn't look like anything special, unfortunately. Luka Garza's done a good job hanging around. Late second round pick. Good job hanging around the league. He's got a decent role with the Celtics this year. There's talent. National Player of the Year in college, just not super athletic, which has limited what he can do in the NBA. But I think there's enough to go in the second round again. I'd draft him in the second round. Mamu, whoa, the way Mamu's played this year, good Lord. I mean, we got to put him in some serious conversations here. Maybe all the way up here in the first round. I would have him over Cam Thomas. I'd have him over Trey Mann. I'd have him over all these guys. Mamu has been so good this year. I have to. Just off of the season he's having for the Raptors. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, first rounder is full. So if we put somebody in the first round now, and we have to bump somebody. Unless, actually, we may have to move people up into the lottery here. That's actually what we might have to do. Jericho Sims, I think will just miss out on the first round for me. A little bit. He's not that good. Not a good defender. Not really that good of a scorer. But he's an NBA player. Aaron Wiggins is good. Aaron Wiggins is good, man. He's definitely first rounder. I mean, he's definitely lottery consideration for myself. I mean, if I have Miles McBride, I'd rather have him than Miles McBride. I'd probably rather have him than Jonathan Kuminga. I'd rather have him than Herb Jones, I think. He's been terrific as a late second-round pick. I'll put him all the way up there in the lottery. So one more spot in the lottery. I know for sure we're going to have to move up Jalen Green now. We have Bassey up next. Second rounder. Yeah, second rounder. From there. Brandon Boston, I think still goes second round, lower. Put him there. Jaden Springer, I think that is. Never really made an impact in NBA. I don't even know if he'd get drafted. I'll put him undrafted, which leaves us with the final spot. We've got the first round actually needs one more bumped up. So we will bump up. I don't really want to bump up Robinson Earl. Who would go first round still? AJ Lawson's played in like the highest profile game. Let's put him. Let's give him the first round spot. Scotty's Barnes, maybe now these days. I think there's a definite case for. I think you can make a case for Barnes to go first. I think you can make a case for Cade to go first. I could see people making a case for Mobley, and maybe even a case for Şengün. Those are the only players I could see going first again in this redraft. For me, the case is only for Cade Cunningham or Scotty Barnes. For Evan Mobley, as talented as a defender, Barnes has got so much more of a ceiling to hit. For Şengün, I think Barnes is a much more diverse set of talents and a higher ceiling still, even in year 5. Barnes has looked like a DPOY level player this year. He's looked like an absolute bona fide all-star this year. His scoring has been great. His playmaking has been great. His leadership has been great. If I was redrafting right now, I think Cade has done enough to stay number 1. This list looks very different 2 years ago, but we have a lot more information now. Cade is like a high 20-point per game player, efficient, good playmaker, leading that team. I got to give Cade his flowers there. I want to put Barnes number 1, but I think I got to go Cade Cunningham number 1. That will be the end of the redraft. Cade, Scotty, Şengün, Mobley, Johnson, as the top 5. Wagner, Murphy, Suggs, Giddey, Wiggins, Jones, Kuminga, McBride, Jalen Green as the rest of the players in the lottery. I could maybe move Jalen Green up 1, but I'd rather have Miles McBride. I think I would. So that'll do it. What do you guys think? Agree? Disagree? Comments? Let me know. That was a tough one, man. That was a really tough one. MLG Beavis says Cade 1. Yeah, I think so. MSJ says Barnes Cade at 1. Then Mobley, Şengün. You have Suggs over Wagner. Interesting. I could see it, but I mean, it's tough to score pretty efficiently 22 a game, 23 a game, which is what Wagner does. Then you have Giddey, then Jalen Johnson. Oh, I definitely wouldn't have Johnson lower than Giddey. And Kuminga and Murphy. Oh, I wouldn't have Kuminga over Murphy, but I mean, that's your opinion. And maybe Kuminga on the right team has got a better ceiling somewhere else, which could factor in. Wow, Steve Stevens would even have Wagner over Mobley. Interesting. Renner One says W top 5. MLG Beavis agrees with the top 5. AX says Giddey over Wagner. Marner's really good. I can't do that. And Giddy, I'd have to see more of this before I go that far, I think. But anyways, guys, I'm a little past my normal time. That's all right. I had a lot of fun streaming for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please hit that like button. It makes a big difference to the channel when you do. And it makes me happy. If you guys enjoyed the stream today and you want more of it, I'm live. We'll be back to a more normal schedule next week. I'm usually live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. for streams like this. I do Raptors watch-alongs as well. Lots of great content to subscribe for, clips throughout the week. As for the rest of the week, tomorrow I'm off because I'm really busy and I'm moving on Sunday. Saturday, I should be doing a watch-along. I won't say 100%. I'll say 90%. I want to do it. It's just because I'm moving the next day. I might want to spend some more time packing, but I would like to stream, so I'll probably stream Saturday. Sunday, I'm moving that day. I cannot possibly give you a watch along, unfortunately. Monday, I'm going to downgrade myself to I'm in between doubtful and questionable. I really don't think streaming on Monday is a good idea, considering I'm going to be unpacking. Internet may not be locked in and set up. I might be really busy with work. I'm probably going to take Monday as a personal day from this. I have my actual job. I'll probably take Monday as a personal day, no stream, and be back. I think the Raptors are back on Tuesday. Actually, do the Raptors have back-to-back on Monday this week? If the Raptors have back-to-back, that's actually not fantastic. No Monday game. I think December 1st. I'll just take off. Apologies, but I'll be back Tuesday. Tuesday, I'll be here. I'll be streaming Raptors against the Blazers. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with me once again today. Again, make sure you hit the like button, and I will see